So I want to talk to you guys about a little concept that I'm sure is not new to anybody. That you guys have, most of y'all have heard this before, and it's about kind of the concept of hobbyists, jiu-jitsu hobbyists, and professional grapplers. So I want to talk about the difference between a jiu-jitsu hobbyist and a professional grappler, and kind of why those two categories are so distinct. And so a jiu-jitsu hobbyist would be someone like myself. You know, I have a career outside of jiu-jitsu. I train 2 to 3 times a week, and I'm also older. And like, I think that, you know, I'm never going to be a jiu-jitsu world champion. It's just not in the cards for me. And that's never something that even clicked in my head when I started. It was just something I wanted to do out of the fun and the enjoyment I got out of jiu-jitsu. And so a hobbyist is someone just does this recreationally. It's just something they do for fun, or to stay in shape, or to learn self-defense, things like that. Versus a professional jiu-jitsu athlete. And someone that I would say is a professional jiu-jitsu athlete, obviously a coach would come to mind. Someone that, you know, I talked to at the gym, my buddy Brandon. Brandon is a 3-time national champion collegiate wrestler, and he's been training jiu-jitsu for a year. But Brandon trains all the time, and Brandon actually can make a living. You know, he coaches, and he does seminars and privates and things like that, and he competes. And he's one of those guys that I would say is a professional grappler. He makes his living, you know, on the mats and with grappling. And so, like, I think there's a clear distinction there. I think that a jiu-jitsu hobbyist and a professional grappler should be compared within their specific areas, right? So, like, if you got to think, a hobbyist like myself trains maybe 2 to 3 times a week, a couple hours, or maybe an hour and a half per se for per each session, right? Versus a professional grappler that probably trains 6 days a week, multiple times a day. So you got to think, if these two people, if a hobbyist and professional, started together, right? The progression of the professional grappler would be so much faster. I mean, think of the mat time they put in. Even like a purple belt that started, you know, 5 years ago versus a professional grappler that started 1 year ago. You know, that professional grappler will make up that time. You got to think how many mat hours they're putting in, consistent mat hours, and all their energy goes to learning this craft, learning grappling and jiu-jitsu. And so you got to think those are two distinct groups. So, you know, you see this on the mats a little bit. You'll see a purple belt or even a brown belt, even a black belt going against one of the younger athletic competitors at the gym. And you'll see the skill set be pretty even, and eventually the professional grappler will surpass that hobbyist. And I think that's a tough thing to deal with, especially myself. I've been caught by lower belts. Brandon's caught me, you know, a number of times with leg locks and stuff, and it forces you to actually pursue those areas where you're weak as a hobbyist. So I'll kind of give you some tips in another video on what I do to try to kind of improve my game, what I feel like benefits me the most. But like, I think when it comes down to it, use those experiences. If you're a hobbyist going with someone that's a professional grappler, that's you know, does this thing to make a living, use those as learning tools. And you have to compare yourself within a similar context, right? You can't compare, you know, a competition blue or purple belt with a hobbyist blue or purple belt. There's just levels of skill are going to be completely different, right? So I think that if you do go with someone lower belt that's just a younger, more athletic and like professional grappler, you got to take that with a grain of salt and understand that like those skill sets are going to be different, even if the belt ranks don't quite align. So hope that makes sense, guys. That's just kind of an idea I was thinking about for me, as you do see that like now as jiu-jitsu is evolving and getting more popular, there's so much more opportunity to improve. You know, we have better facilities and more classes, and cross training is becoming more of a thing. And then competitions are pretty much every weekend. So I think there's a hunger to learn. There's more techniques out there, and the skill set are just vastly increasing. So I think just the main thing is take, you know, your hobbyist and your professional grappler. Know that there's two different kind of categories of grapplers there, and you know, compare yourself to people that are more in your situation. You don't have to really compare yourself to anybody, but like look at people that are in a similar situation that you are, in a similar season of your life, or a similar stage of your life, and kind of use it that way to maybe even assess your progress, or you know, how you're doing on the mats. But honestly, we all kind of do jiu-jitsu, or at least I do jiu-jitsu because I love doing it, and I love the camaraderie and the friendships and the people and the art itself, and just how hard it pushes me. So that's it, guys. Just my thoughts, and tell me what you think. If you think this video is interesting, send me a comment down there. Let me know what you think. If you want to hear me talk about something else, let me know. But something else on my mind. Talk to you guys next time.